Buffalo Bayou Park, a sprawling green oasis in the heart of Houston, Texas, is known for its scenic trails, public art, and vibrant urban life. But beneath its picturesque surface, and woven into the very fabric of its history, lies a darker, more unsettling truth. For generations, whispers have persisted of the park being a nexus of unexplained phenomena, a place where the veil between worlds seems unnervingly thin. These aren't just campfire tales. They are deeply rooted in the park's tragic past, a history marred by devastating floods, countless drownings, and an alarming number of suicides. Recently, a seasoned paranormal investigator, known only by his online handle Spectre Seeker, embarked on a week-long solo expedition into the park's most notorious locations. His goal was not to sensationalize, but to meticulously document, to listen, and to perhaps, finally, understand the profound sorrow that seems to cling to Buffalo Bayou. What he uncovered, through a combination of historical research, environmental readings, and chilling personal encounters, painted a picture far more terrifying than any urban legend. This is the story of his investigation, a Reddit-style deep dive into the spectral heart of Houston. Spectre Seeker arrived on a humid Tuesday, the air thick with the promise of rain, a fitting atmosphere for the task ahead. He set up a discreet base camp, equipped with an array of sensitive instruments, EMF detectors, thermal cameras, voice recorders, and a profound sense of quiet determination. His initial observations were of the park's deceptive tranquility. Families picnicking, joggers passing by, the gentle murmur of the bayou itself. But he knew, from his research, that this calm was merely a thin veneer over decades, centuries even, of profound human suffering. His first target, the legendary underground cistern. The cistern, a massive, echoing subterranean reservoir built in 1926, is a place of profound sensory deprivation. Its 221 concrete columns rise from a shallow pool of water, creating an optical illusion that stretches into infinity. It is a space that naturally disorients, but Spectre Seeker suspected something more. Historically, the cistern was a vital part of Houston's water supply, but its long disuse and the sheer scale of its darkness have made it a magnet for ghost stories. During his solo exploration, Spectre Seeker reported an immediate and oppressive shift in atmosphere. The air grew heavy, and a distinct chill permeated the space despite the oppressive Houston heat outside. His EMF detector spiked erratically in several areas, particularly near the far wall, where the echoes seemed to linger unnaturally long. He described feeling an intense sense of being watched, a palpable presence that moved just beyond his line of sight. On one occasion, while attempting an EVP session, he distinctly heard what sounded like a faint, mournful sigh, too clear to be an echo and too sorrowful to be dismissed. The history of the cistern, while not directly linked to specific deaths, is one of isolation and containment, a perfect crucible for residual energy. Spectre Seeker theorized that the sheer volume of human emotion, perhaps from those who worked in its depths or those who simply felt overwhelmed by its vastness, had imprinted itself upon the very structure. Next, Spectre Seeker turned his attention to the Franklin Street Bridge. This seemingly ordinary concrete span carries traffic over the bayou, but its history is tragically intertwined with the city's darker moments. For decades, it has been a notorious site for suicides, a grim landmark where despair has often found its final, desperate release. The sheer number of lives lost here, plunging into the murky waters below, has left an indelible mark. Spectre Seeker spent several nights near the bridge, observing, listening. He noted a pervasive sense of melancholy, even during the busiest hours. His thermal camera, usually used to detect anomalous heat signatures, repeatedly picked up cold spots that moved independently of the wind, particularly near the bridge's railings. During one late-night vigil, he reported hearing faint, disembodied whispers, too indistinct to form words, yet carrying an unmistakable tone of anguish. He described a profound feeling of sorrow washing over him, a wave of despair that was not his own, but seemed to emanate from the very structure of the bridge itself. It was as if the echoes of countless final moments were still reverberating in the air, The Lost Lake Trail, winding through a quieter, more secluded part of the park, was Spectre Seeker's next point of investigation. While seemingly tranquil, this area is historically part of the vast floodplains that have repeatedly swallowed parts of Houston. The bayou, during its frequent and devastating floods, has claimed untold lives, sweeping away homes, families, and dreams. Many bodies were never recovered, lost to the churning waters and the shifting landscape. Spectre Seeker found the atmosphere along the trail to be eerily still, almost heavy. He reported a recurring phenomenon, the distinct smell of damp earth and stagnant water, even on dry days, a scent that seemed to intensify in specific clearings. His Geiger counter, used to detect subtle energy fluctuations, registered unusual spikes in areas where historical maps indicated significant flood devastation. He described a chilling sensation of being followed, a feeling of unseen eyes watching from the dense foliage. On one occasion, he captured what he believes was an anomalous shadow figure darting between trees on his night vision camera, too fast and too distinct to be an animal. The sheer scale of the unrecovered dead, lost to the bayou's wrath, seemed to manifest as a pervasive, restless energy along these ancient flood paths. Moving closer to the urban edge of the park, Spectre Seeker investigated the area around the brewery tap, a popular spot today, but once part of a bustling industrial zone. This area, particularly in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, was a hub of activity, including breweries and other industries that often operated with lax safety standards. Accidents, injuries, and deaths were not uncommon. Spectre Seeker focused on the older, less renovated sections near the bayou's edge. Here, he noted a different kind of energy, less sorrowful and more agitated. His EMF detector showed consistent, low-level fluctuations, almost like a constant hum of residual energy. He reported hearing what sounded like faint, distant clanging and mechanical noises, even when no machinery was present. During one of his sessions, he felt a sudden, sharp push on his back, strong enough to make him stumble, yet there was no one behind him. It was as if the echoes of past labor, and perhaps the sudden, violent ends of those who worked there, were still playing out in an unseen loop. Finally, Spectre Seeker broadened his focus to the historic floodplains themselves, the vast, low-lying areas that define Buffalo Bayou Park. This is where the true scale of the park's tragic history becomes apparent. Before modern flood control, the bayou was a force of nature, regularly overflowing its banks, inundating vast areas and causing immense loss of life. Entire communities were swept away, and the bayou became a watery grave for thousands. Spectre Seeker spent his final days simply walking these plains, trying to absorb the sheer weight of history. He described a profound sense of desolation, a feeling of being surrounded by unseen multitudes. His equipment, particularly his thermal camera, consistently picked up faint, human-shaped heat signatures that would appear and vanish within seconds, too numerous and too fleeting to be explained by wildlife. He also reported a recurring, faint smell of ozone, often associated with intense electrical activity or, in paranormal circles, with strong energetic manifestations. It was here, amidst the silent, sprawling plains, that Spectre Seeker felt the most overwhelming sense of the park's true nature, a vast, unmarked cemetery, where the spirits of the lost are forever bound to the currents of the bayou. Spectre Seeker's week-long investigation concluded with a chilling realization. Buffalo Bayou Park is not merely haunted in the traditional sense of a few isolated spirits. It is a place permeated by the collective trauma of generations. The drownings, the suicides, the forgotten victims of countless floods, their energies, their sorrow, their final moments, have seemingly imprinted themselves upon the very landscape. The park, in its serene beauty, holds a profound and terrifying secret. It is a living monument to tragedy, and for those sensitive enough to perceive it, the whispers of its dark history are a constant, unsettling presence. Houston's most haunted park is not just a place where ghosts reside. It is a place where the past refuses to die, and the echoes of human suffering continue to terrify.